Selling is a calling, serving is its purpose, questioning is the process, and a sale may be the solution. Hi, I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, and those words are what I learned from my sales mentor, Steve Clark, way back in 2006, and it changed my life forever. Up until that point, I'd been in sales almost 10 years and had done pretty well. I had sold stocks and bonds. I had sold mobile homes in the Deep South, and there's a lot of money in mobile home sales, believe it or not. I sold high tech, but I was never really in control of the process. And processes are what really makes the difference. That separates the amateurs from the professionals. But as we go back and we look at, we break that down. Selling is a calling. People all the time will ask me, "Hey, Wes, can you train my salespeople?" And I tell them honestly, I don't know. Until I meet them, until really, if you test them with like your Myers-Briggs or your DISCs or your Trimetrics type things, until I understand what really motivates them, I may or may not be able to train those people. If you're watching this video, it's because you are interested in sales. You're interested in the profession of sales, so you are trainable. But people ask me, can I train them? I don't know, but selling has to be a calling. It's got to be in your blood. You've got to be motivated to go out and sell, and you have to see selling as something that is good, that brings about an improvement for the prospect, where you're exchanging money for your product or service, and they are benefiting because of that. Okay, so my very first sales training client was an architect that was going out on his own, and he realized he needed to do something to improve his human relationships, his communication skills, his networking, and his selling. And so he was my very first one. So in his case, selling was not necessarily a calling, but being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, he realized was in his blood. And you know what? Being an entrepreneur means getting out and selling that dream, selling that vision. And so that's why he was willing to take that step. So you may have a calling for sales and not even know it just yet. If you've been an entrepreneur, if you've been a business owner for any amount of time, you realize building the better mousetrap does not guarantee sales. All right, so selling is a calling, serving is its purpose. I alluded to that earlier, but if you're in it just for the money, you may make a lot of money, but you won't make money for a long time, and you will not get referrals and testimonials. You'll probably get lit up on the social media sites like Yelp and Facebook and whatever, and that eventually will come crashing down. People say, dogs can sense fear. And that's true, but I think humans can detect fear and uncertainty and doubt and ill will better than any dog or any other animal. And so if you find yourself acting strange, if you find prospects not really responding the way that they should, you're probably telegraphing something. And it's probably during the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, when you get desperate and you really need that last sale to make your number, and you'll realize how much resistance you get because you're not there to serve that prospect in that moment. And people do not like being treated as an object, right? As just something, a means to your end. And that's why they resist. So you've got to see selling, the purpose is serving, okay? And when you look at it, that can be anything from you could be selling flat panel televisions at Best Buy. You could be selling, cars, nice cars, inexpensive cars. You could be selling homes. But you're serving the need for those people to have a better experience in their living room. Maybe they have movie night with the family every week. Maybe they have buddies that come over and watch games, and that's bonding time. Maybe they just bring the kids over. Maybe the kids are grown, and on Sundays, Dad watches football, or maybe mom brings the daughters over and they like watching movies together. That bonding time, you're serving them by helping them get the right TV with the right setup, with the right connections, the right installation, so everything looks good in the room, it works with the lighting, the reflection, whatever. It sounds silly, it sounds simple, but if you're in that business, you see what I'm talking about. All right, so you've got to treat selling as a calling, serving is its purpose. Questioning is the process. People always talk about, oh, you're really good with people, you're quick-witted, yada, yada. You should really be in sales. But in reality, the best salespeople are those that are curious. They ask the most questions. Steve Clark taught me that we as salespeople are in charge of the structure, and the prospect is in charge of the content. So what that means is we've got to set the agenda, the meeting, the goals up front. We've got to be clear about that. And we have to let the prospect know that we are not coming over to do a dog and pony show. We are coming over to ask them questions, to understand their situation. If they truly knew their pains, their exposure, the ramifications of not implementing whatever it is that you offer, if they truly knew that, then they would have already made a decision and implemented the change that they're calling you about. But because they don't truly understand, it's up to you as a professional salesperson to take control of the situation, to ask good questions. Let them know that you may even have to take some time to kind of ponder things to make sure you fully understand the situation and make the best recommendation. Okay? But questioning is the process. It's exactly like an attorney. You ever notice, you see these law ads, first consultation is free. What is that attorney doing? He's really disqualifying that prospect. He wants to know, if you're coming in because of a workplace injury, they're going to ask you, have you ever filed a workplace injury, workers' comp claim before? Oh, you have? How often? At this business, at a different business? Were you doing the exact same job? They want to know, are you for real? We have to have the same approach in selling. Instead of showing up, remember, we're showing up to serve. We want to know, do what we offer, can it really meet their needs? Do they have the ability and the desire and the need to buy what it is we're selling? And you only figure that out through good questions, just like a doctor. You trust the doctor's recommendation, not because of the plaques on the wall, not because of the type of equipment that they use, not because of the fancy stethoscope or the white robe. You trust their diagnosis because of the process that the doctor follows, the questions that they ask, how they thump you, in your chest and your knees and wherever, and they listen and they ask, and then they put the pieces together. You have to take that approach as a professional salesperson. If and when you do, you will see everything change. And you see the final part of that was a sale may be the solution. You see all this ties together. Because you're not looking at that prospect with a dollar sign on his head, because you're not in it just for the money, because you're there to serve, you may tell people no sometimes. Or maybe they want the platinum package and you're going to recommend the silver package because that's best for them right now. How do you think their trust and their comfort level with you and even their excitement, how do you think that will grow when you downsell them, right? Recommend something less expensive. Now, I'm not saying you always do that. Hey, we always want to sell the biggest and baddest, make the most money, but only if it's right. When you help downsell, if that's the right thing, help them make the best decision for their own situation, that's when they go out and tell the world about you. That's when they sing your praises. That's when you get good Yelp reviews and good Facebook reviews and good Twitter reviews and retweets and all that fun stuff. That's when people take pictures of your stuff or take pictures with you together, right? A little client selfie. That's when they provide unsolicited testimonials and referrals. And that's when your business grows. So it sounds very simple, but it's quite powerful. I'll repeat it for you one more time. Selling is a calling, serving is its purpose, questioning is the process, and a sale may be the answer. All right, now tied into that, I like to talk about the 3 Ps. You have your preparation, you have your process, and then you have your profits. Most salespeople, in the beginning at least, make sales, and this is how I was. I did well because I was willing to work hard. And by hard, I mean long, hard hours. I made the extra calls, made the extra visits, went on the extra trips, okay, to nail down a prospect, to get the order, to get the foot in the door. And you cannot do that forever and have any type of quality of life. Okay, so you've got to have, you got to prepare to win, but you have to know what it takes to win. And sometimes we're too busy, and that busyness keeps us from being productive. Okay, once you figure that out, you then begin to have a process for everything, for your prospecting, for your networking, for when you respond to emails. And believe it or not, over a decade ago, when I was still an employee, I learned to stop answering the phone every single time it rang on the first ring even. Sometimes you can let it go to voicemail. Okay, the phone is there for your benefit, okay, to make you more effective. If you're in the middle of something important, let the phone ring. But because I learned to not be so reactive. I learned to prepare blocks of time to chunk things. Just like when you go to the grocery store, you go there, you get your milk and your eggs and your bread and everything in one place. You don't go from one store to the next for the different items. The same thing is true in your selling. You've got to have a process for your prospecting, for how you respond to inquiries, how you speak to receptionists and gatekeepers. You've got to have a process for how you reach that decision maker. If you get their voicemail, what will you say? How many voicemails will you leave? If the prospect is worth your time and going after, I recommend at least having 7 sequential voicemails that tell a story. Okay, you can tell a good story in 60 to 90 seconds, where you talk about a case study or you talk about the results that another client or maybe even a competitor had with you. You pique their interest, and then you tell them, I will call you back tomorrow or the next day or 2 days later at a certain time, and then you do it. Okay, so you have a process for leaving voicemails. You have a process for what you say and how you will take control of the conversation when the decision maker answers. You have a process for how do you set an appointment, because the purpose of that call is not to make a sale. I'm talking B2B here, of course, but the purpose is not to make a sale. It's to set an appointment, a mutually agreed upon appointment with a decision maker. Okay, with that, now remember, that's the structure I'm talking about. You're creating the structure, they're going to provide the content. So what is your process for taking control of that call, taking control to ensure you have a firm appointment? How do you have a process to ensure that that person shows up with all of their other decision makers? And then how do you control that meeting when you do arrive to reach and answer a definitive answer? The biggest killer for salespeople is that uncertainty, not knowing what is the outcome, what is the next step. I get an answer from my meetings. Now that answer is not always yes, but at least it is what is the next step and when will it occur. Sometimes, you're selling big stuff, that's fine. It's got to go to a committee or it's got to go to other people. That's fine. You need to know when that will happen. Because when you know when that will happen, let's say it's got to go through the finance committee and they only meet on the 3rd Thursday of the month. That's fine. I'm recording this. It's Saturday, August 30th, 2014. Just watched my Air Force Falcons open up the season opener with a big win. So if I have to wait for 3 Thursdays, then you know what? That's fine. That's going to be 3 weeks from now. I can put that on my calendar to respond or to follow up on the following Friday, right? And I can forget about it for now. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to update my boss, my manager, anybody. I can now go and focus on somebody else that has not given me a definitive answer. So you've got to have a process all the way through. Okay, then how do you follow up? Because at that point, it's really not even a follow-up, right? I like to say that life is too short for follow-up calls. But the money is in the follow-up. So it's kind of splitting hairs in a way. You think, well, maybe Wes has been drinking a little too much for the football game. It's not true. I haven't had anything yet. But what I mean by that, when you call on that 3rd Thursday or the Friday afterwards, that's not a, quote, follow-up call. That's an appointment. That's a mini appointment where they've agreed to give you an answer, to give you the results of the meeting. And the reason I say that's important, because in sales, your psyche, your confidence is the most important thing. You know, Zig Ziglar always talked about selling is a transference of a feeling, and that feeling is confidence. So when you know that you're going to call them back, when that receptionist or that executive assistant answers, may I ask what this call is in regards to? You can say, we had an appointment today. I'm calling for our set appointment. And you're telling the truth, which is another big thing in sales. You've got to tell the truth. But because you're not just following up, oh, hey, I just wanted to follow up, you feel like this weak beggar, like you're an interruption in their day, which nothing could be further from the truth. You have something that benefits them, that improves their lives, that will make the company better and more efficient, that will make the family better and more efficient. You're selling solar, and it's going to improve, lower their electric bill. You're selling, whole house water filtration system, so their appliances will run better, their shower heads won't get clogged. So you're selling something of value. You're improving their lives. You're not an interruption, so it's not a follow-up. It's an appointment. Big difference. But getting back to that, preparation, process, profits. Okay, you've got to prepare. You've got to create this process so every step of the way you are in control. Being reactionary, being unsure, not knowing what the next steps are, that's when your sales manager and the VP of sales, whatever, cracks down on you. That's when you've got to go through your CRM, your Salesforce or Infusionsoft or Zoho or whatever, update things. That's when you start manipulating and even lying, right? Massaging the numbers. And that's when you end up worn out, exhausted, defeated. That's when you end up at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, begging for a deal, and it all falls apart. So preparation, process, you can see now how that leads to profits. Like I said, it's August 30th. The month isn't over yet. Got a few deals left to do. But in July, I deposited over $54,000 in my bank account. I have no employees. I have an assistant. I have some contractors that do some work for me. I work from home, as you can see, in ball cap. Went to the gym a little while. I thought about changing, getting a suit on or whatever. It's like, that's not me. So you want somebody honest that lives the life the way they want. I'm here at my home office. The kids come around. But how do you want to live your life, right? How do you want to make things happen? But when the boss is cracking down on you, when there's pressure, it's just not a way to live. All right. But because I've prepared and I have processes, I have profits. So depositing that type of money with such low overhead and such low exposure, right, to employees and lawsuits and workers' comp and all that, that brings about the freedom that we all want and deserve. And as a professional salesperson, when you adopt that mentality, that selling is a calling, serving is its purpose, questioning is a process, and a sale may be the answer, you too will be able to work from home, in your ball cap if you want, catch some games, hang out with the big dog, bark in there, so it indicates that it's time to go. So I appreciate you watching this video. I've got 2 more coming in the series. It's all around helping you become a better salesperson, helping you internalize and embrace the fact that selling is not a dirty word. You do not have to be a pushy, cheesy person to succeed in sales. Actually, nothing could be further from the truth. You can be a professional. You can be caring. You can be and should be and need to be thoughtful, deliberate, optimistic, confident. That is what sells today. So if that is you, if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking to excel and to succeed in the profession of sales, you've come to the right place. Please leave some comments below or ask me any question. I'll be happy to answer it. And as I said, stay tuned for the next couple of videos in this series. Good selling, and thanks for watching.